Hi, I'm Naya. Welcome back to my channel. Since it's Dyslexia Awareness Week, I thought why not firstly talk about my experience being a dyslexic reader, and secondly some tips and tricks that I have on how you can read more as a dyslexic reader or just in general. So firstly, I'm dyslexic. I was diagnosed as dyslexic when I was 19 in my first year of university. It was a bit of a struggle at first. I think I always knew. So like when I was very young, I struggled with reading. I didn't really like reading. I think because I struggled with it so much, grasping, being able to read like big books, and now fast forward to now, I'm 24 and I read a lot of books. So yeah, I think I used to read a little bit when I was growing up, but not a lot of books. And then I got to around the age of like 10, 11, I started getting into books a bit more. And yeah, my journey slowly got, obviously I wasn't reading to the extent of what I read nowadays, but I can average 6 to 8 books a month. But I want to preface this by saying that no matter how many books you read a month, a year, if you're reading, you are a reader. Everyone reads in different forms, and every form of reading is valid. I think sometimes people forget that everyone has different abilities, availabilities. So if you're a busy worker and the only time you get to read is on the train, but you've only read one book in the past 6 months, you're still a reader. But yeah, so I thought I have some tips and tricks that help me read more, and I thought why not share them. So my first tip is to read audiobooks. Audiobooks are the number one reason I read as much as I do. They make reading so much more accessible for me. I read so many audiobooks throughout the year. I think 75% of the books that I end up reading are like from audiobooks. May that be audio, like solely audiobooks, if I'm reading along, so I think that's called immersive reading. But yeah, audiobooks play a major, audiobooks have a major impact on my ability to read more books. So there's a few places you can get audiobooks from. So I get my audiobooks from, when I first started getting into audiobooks, I think I was around like 18. I started getting into audiobooks, and that was through Audible. And that was my first kind of interaction with audiobooks. I think I started off I think my first audiobook I listened to was maybe like Sadie by Courtney Summers or Daisy Jones and the Six, which are actually two of my favourite audiobooks that I've read, so they've left a lasting impression. But then as I've gotten more experience listening to audiobooks and kind of like gotten more into the bookish sphere a bit more, I've kind of seen that there are different platforms that you can get audiobooks from. So another big one is Everand. I use that a lot. So Everand, I think there's a massive library of books on there, and they have loads of genres and stuff like that, and I get a lot of the audiobooks I listen to off there. And yeah, they're just really good ones. They always have the new books on there, so they're always updating what they have on there, so it's amazing. I think I don't know what the limit is, but you can listen to a certain amount, and then some of them you have to wait until the beginning of the month to listen to them, but I never really have that as an issue because I always find something that I want to read in my saved is always going to be there. Another place to get audiobooks is your library. My library has 2 apps that you can get audiobooks from. I know a big one that's popular is Libby, which I think most libraries do, so I would definitely recommend looking into that one. But my library also uses BorrowBox, but I've listened to a lot of books on BorrowBox. I think yesterday actually I just finished the audiobook for Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal, and that was an amazing audiobook. And yeah, let me start off by saying audiobooks are fun. As someone who loves to get read to, my sister used to read to me when I was little, and it just feels like you're being read to. It's a fun experience. And then certain audiobooks are fully cast, so it feels like you're getting like a full-on cinematic experience. And honestly, like, I have the it's like as a movie, because I have it playing in my ears and then like my imagination. It's a whole immersive experience. And if you read along, like immersive reading, oh, it's amazing. So I would highly recommend listening to audiobooks. My friend Sophia also is a massive audiobook person. We're both dyslexic besties. But yeah, we attribute a lot of our reading to audiobooks. So I would definitely say audiobooks is the main reason I read as much as I do. The next thing you could do to help you read a bit more is to maybe change the type of books that you're reading. So I think when I was younger, I used to read a lot of comics and stuff like that. So there's like different websites and stuff that you can read comics on. So there's like, what is there? There's Webtoon, which has amazing webcomics on there. I think Heartstopper's actually on there. So if you want to read Heartstopper, you can read it on there. There's also like if you have Kindle Unlimited, there's loads of graphic novels on there as well. I would say graphic novels are 100% the best way to read loads, because also you get amazing art in the books, but also a great storyline, and it's a bit easier because it's less text. So that might be good. So I've got one here, Lore Olympus. I just happen to have it. And yeah, like, firstly, gorgeous art style in this, and then like obviously it has loads of little bits of speech. So I think, yeah, that'd be really helpful. And yes, it is a chunky book, and do you know what, no matter how long it takes you to read it, but it's just, I find graphic novels sometimes easier to read because it's not got just that big thing of text where you just get confused with how many words are on the paper. I would definitely say graphic novels and comics and stuff like that are great, a great form of reading. They are still reading, but yeah, it's a different style of storytelling, but you're still getting a story across. And this is a very popular graphic novel series, and there are so many graphic novel series. I could do a whole video on graphic novels that I recommend, because I love graphic novels. I think also I end up reading more because I have so many graphic novels in my collection, or that I can get from the library and stuff like that, which help. My final, not really tip, but suggestion, which I think would be useful, is if you are still trying to read like, so physical books or stuff like that, I find like certain physical books are easier for me to read depending on the font that they use. So one thing that I do find more helpful is with ebooks, the fact that you can change the font. There's loads of different fonts you can use. So I've got my Kindle here. Basically, it's got this font. This is a dyslexic font on there, but it's just a bit more rounded, for you to read the book a bit easier. But there are loads of different fonts on there, so even if you find, because I spoke to my friend Sophia, she said this, she can't read this font, but she loves Times New Roman, and like I think it's great. Like loads of ebook platforms have that, so even like when I read on my iPad on Apple Books, you can change the font to loads of different things. I think it's really helpful to find the font that works for you the best. And yeah, you can change the size. Like, I know the size of my font is very big because my friend Amy has a smaller Kindle than me, and her font is minuscule. Now me, I can't read that. It's just too small for me. Like, my eyesight's not great already, but the words just mash up, like they just jumble together, and I can't read it. So yeah, I make the margins bigger, I make the text bigger, I pick a font that works for me to be able to see, and it just works better for me. But yeah, don't be discouraged that you're not reading as much as other people are. I think even sometimes I fall into this trap where you kind of see reading as like, I mean, I see it as a competition with myself to try and read more books than I've read the year previously. But I think as long as you're enjoying the stories that you're reading and you're consuming stories in whatever form, like you're still reading, you're still engaging with it, and that's the main thing. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, drop them below, or you can DM me on Instagram. My Instagram's also linked down below. But yeah, just remember, dyslexic or not, like, reading is an individual thing, and as long as you're enjoying the stories that you're reading, then that's all you need. But yeah, thank you so much for watching today's video. It was a bit of a short one today, but I thought I needed to add it. But as a token dyslexic reader, I think it needs to be said, because there are dyslexic readers out there. We may take a little bit longer to read, but you know what? We still enjoy a good story. So yeah, and I'll make sure to link my friend Sophia's Instagram down as well, as a fellow dyslexic. But yeah, thank you for watching my video, and hope you join me next time. Bye!